Hello, my artwork Jazz Singer was made using basic drawing materials. Knowing how to use drawing materials and having fun playing with them is one of the key things that will lead to a successful drawing or painting. So the materials that I'm going to be working with are a dry brush, designer's gouache, an old piece of card, dip pens. You can either make your own dip pen with a bit of bamboo, cutting and shaping it, or you can buy a dip pen. Um, so those are the basic materials that I'll be working with. I've actually put a piece of paper just resting on a piece of paper. I have my paper on a piece of card or board. Um, I'm going to the first um, experiment. I'm just going to put water, dribble water onto a page or paper, and then just take some of the designer's gouache and just drop it onto the water itself and just let it run. Another way to use the gouache is to use the brush to make marks, or mix the gouache up quite thickly and put a block of tone down. I'm talking about tones. Tones are usually understood as um, black, mid-grey, and white. Since we've got white paper, the only other thing that I would need to do is to reduce the designer's gouache with a little bit of water to get a mid-tone. So you have the gouache here at its maximum density, and you have a mid-tone here um, just by reducing the gouache a little bit. So effectively here in this almost wet into wet, I suppose, you've got the darker tone of the gouache going to the lighter and then really quite light tone here. I can mix quite a bit of the gouache up, add quite an extensive amount of water, so that the gouache actually acts like ink, and I can actually draw with the bamboo pen. It's quite a nice thing to do. The more you experiment, the more fun you can find out about using the materials. So the next thing I would probably demonstrate is dry brush. The drier the brush, or the more damage. Sometimes if I've left ink on a brush and the brush becomes very basically clogged up, you could probably get quite an interesting range of um, marks. Now, this one here that I'm demonstrating is when I've added no water whatsoever. So I'm just using the brush dipped into a dry gouache. You get more textural type marks. Another way of working with the gouache is to pick up a bank card, put a wedge of gouache onto the card, and actually just paint with the card itself. So you get some interesting marks that way. So what I've used then today is dry brush. I've used a brush in the usual traditional way. I've used a dip pen. Got 2 dip pens there. And I've been using designer's gouache. Another way of working would be to add charcoal to a drawing, which gives you a very different kind of quality. It can be quite diffused, as I'm doing here, which I'm just rubbing or smudging the charcoal with my finger and working over it with more dense lines. So you've got quite a range of options there that could be employed to make a drawing. So here you can see I've used the bamboo pen. I've used bits of card to actually spread the gouache along. I've used a little bit of charcoal to put these diffused areas in. And these areas are here are coloured pastel. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you.